Hello friends! Today we're going to cook up this delicious venison backstrap with a homemade garlic aioli. Venison is one of those extremely lean cuts that works really well smoking, and if you can get your hands on one, it is so good. Let's get started. This is a venison backstrap. This is from a deer that I harvested last fall. I did a pretty good job of trimming it. But as always, the first thing you're going to do, especially on game meat, is to remove any of the silver skin. In general, when you get really gamey tasting game meat, it's usually someone just didn't do a good job of trimming it. So, taking off all the stuff that looks a little gross. In general, this looks pretty good. I think that's good to go. This isn't a huge deer, as you can tell, but it should be enough for 1, 2, maybe 3 people. I'm just going to get off a little bit of the myoglobin. All right. Now, obviously the first step, like I said, is to do the trimming. Then what we're going to do here is very simple. We're just going to salt it and put it in the fridge for about 4 or 5 hours. We want the salt to permeate the meat. And then I'm going to cook it like a steak. We're going to do a dry rub of garlic powder and pepper, just like I usually do every single steak. And then we'll get going on to the next step, which is smoking it down. So let's salt it down here. A little bit too much right there. We'll get the other side. Perfect. Now, like I said, it's very important that we have this sit in the fridge for a couple hours. We want the smoke, we want the salt to permeate all the way through the meat. Otherwise, you're just gonna have an exterior. And this meat is very lean, as I'm sure you can tell, it's venison. So we're trying to get as much flavor out of this as we can, and we don't want it to be very dry and boring on the inside. Several hours later, and now it's time to get this thing onto the smoker. As you can see, all of the salt has gone into the meat. That's what we're looking for. So what we're gonna do is just add my garlic powder and my coarse black pepper. And while we're doing this, I actually just turned the smoker on to get it up to temp. Just gonna coat this, put it back in the fridge because I want this cold when it goes on the smoker. That'll actually make it take a little bit longer, but allow more time to smoke to permeate and get us a nice smoke ring on here before we start to actually get some work done getting it up to temperature. So let's just quickly put our rub on, put it back in the fridge, and I'll see you guys outside to get this thing ready to go. There's brisket, and Diddy is now up to temp. I have it set at 180 degrees. It's in pro mode, so it's swinging a little bit. Right now we're at 225. And I have our backstrap on the top rack. We're just gonna let it do its thing. I'm not really gonna fuss with it at all. Just kind of set it and forget it. And I'm gonna let it get to a temperature of maybe 115, maybe 120. You really don't wanna overcook venison. So we'll see how it looks, and we're just gonna be in waiting mode. In the meantime, I'm gonna make a nice garlic aioli to go with this cook. Whipping up an aioli could not be easier. I mean, maybe if I made my own mayonnaise, but I'm not ready to do that today. So all we're gonna do is take our mayonnaise, take our lime juice and our garlic, and our salt and our pepper, and just mix it together. This is gonna go great with our venison. And like I said, that's it. Done. And just like that, we're done. I cooked this thing to 125 degrees and then wrapped it in tinfoil for about 10 or 15 minutes. You might be able to get away with a little bit longer to let that meat rest. And honestly, it looks fantastic. Now this was a smaller cut of backstrap. It was a smaller deer. So this only went for about an hour. As you can see, we got a bit of a smoke ring starting. It's got a beautiful color on the outside. But if you're working with a bigger deer, you might get 2 hours, 3 hours and get a much bigger smoke ring. But the results are gonna be the same. Cooking venison on a smoker is almost perfect because you're cooking it low and slow, which is what this meat needs because there's no fat in it. So it's gonna come out very tender regardless, especially if you get to that 125, very medium rare to rare, what you would do with steak, is perfect for venison. And with this garlic aioli, it's going to be fantastic. And now I've talked way too much and I really want to get in here and eat one, so let's give it the old chomp. I gotta do another one. Sorry. Guys, if you're a hunter, you know this is why we do it. If you're not a hunter, you got to get your hands on a backstrap at some point, whether that means you find a hunting friend or you look online and see if you can find a farm raised. But backstrap is a great meat. It's a really good meat. It's a very healthy meat, and on the smoker it's fantastic. This garlic aioli works perfectly with it, and it's honestly my favorite way to cook my backstraps. You definitely got to add this to your list of cooks that you do on your smoker. And again, all we have is pepper, a little bit of garlic, and salt on this thing, and it comes out fantastic. It's a perfect meal. If you guys got anything out of this, send me a like, send me a comment. Let me know what new knife I should buy. I'm getting tired of this cutting knife, and I kind of want to get a new meat knife. Subscription would be fantastic, dudes. Welcome to the mothership, and stick around for the next cook.